Hello everyone, I'd just like to add a correction for the last cast. Jamie incorrectly suggested last time that he'd been drinking cynicism instead of beer. Of course, it only counts as cynicism if it comes from the Cynac region of France, and I did check, and Jamie was actually drinking sparkling skepticism. We do apologise for that.
Oh, you're wonderful, but wow. I hate you.
On with the cast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brainwaves. We are doing a special live episode for you today. It has been, you know what, I don't even remember how long it's been since I was on an airplane, but we are now here at the Messe Essen Exhibition Centre in Essen, Germany for Essen Spiel 2020 live.
Jamie.
I'm here with my portable podcasting equipment. Yes, Ian, what can I do for you?
There's a big sign on the door that says it's been cancelled.
I do not see this big sign on the door. I see this big sign on the door.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi, nice to meet you. Sorry I was a bit late tonight. I'm glad I finally made it to Essen. Whoa, what a journey that was.
Ian, have you seen the sign on the door?
Oh, not again.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been cancelled, guys. I'm just checking the internet, and I mean, our hotel reservation's still there, so we can go and record in the hotel room.
I wondered why it was so cheap. I just assumed everyone had forgotten this year. You know, there's been other things going on.
Well, it is what it is, I guess.
Okay.
Back to the hotel room. German beer or two.
We could
Get
just
the
do
podcast out of the way.
We could just do it in the convention hall itself, and just a big empty convention hall, just the three of us, socially distanced,
Bit
of course.
echoey.
Yeah, that's true.
Bit echoey.
That's true.
I'm going back to Glasgow.
Small hotel room.
I'm going with one of you, Ian's. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, while we get sorted out, this is Brainwaves episode 59, bringing you the best in board game and tabletop gaming news. These are the headlines for the week of the 26th of October, 2020. Wizards vs. Weiss, or Wizards vs. Vice, take your pick, in Western Washington. Awards accolades also accrue again, and chess cheating crisis continues. All this and more on this episode of Brainwaves.
Yes, we're back with Wizards of the Coast for our first headline of this podcast. Dragonlance is a much beloved shared universe originally created by Laura and Tracy Hickman, the first novel of which was released in 1984. Since then, the series has held a beloved place in Dungeons & Dragons history and lore, and has been continued by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman are now taking Wizards of the Coast to court for breaking a multi-million-dollar deal involving this franchise. In 2017, the pair approached Wizards to write a new Dragonlance trilogy, something the suit says they believed would be the capstone of their careers. As Wizards owned the rights to Dungeons & Dragons and Dragonlance as a setting for that game, permission was needed from Wizards. An agreement was drawn up, and the pair started working. Around August the 13th of this year, 2020, during a conference call with Wizards and their representatives, the pair learnt that Wizards would no longer approve any further drafts of the first book in the new series, effectively ending the contract. Wizards have given no explanation for this as yet. Weiss and Hickman's lawyers state that this is a backdoor way to end the agreement, and in doing this, Wizards knew exactly what it was doing. They are now seeking compensation. The suit claims that the reason for this was to do with Wizards being embroiled in accusations of sexism and racism, both within the company structure and within products themselves, something we have reported on in previous casts. It's extraordinary to see Wizards doing this kind of thing, considering how many public hits they've taken recently. I guess the question is, how much more can they take in the public sphere? How many more hits can they take doing terrible things to people?
I think they've adopted one of the Netrunner identities where you get bad publicity in exchange for cash. Just big bags of cash.
Well, they did buy back the rights to They have the rights to Netrunner now, so maybe they're planning a new release.
I did see, actually, yeah. They're talking... There are rumours about some kind of cyberpunk Wizards of the Coast game. That would make me forgive a lot of the nonsense they've done.
Would it,
Well,
though?
not really.
Those rumours have been circulating for a while.
New
I'm
ones.
not sure if they're actually true or not.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary suit. We'll bring you more information as that comes. I mean, I was never a big reader of the sort of Dungeons and Dragons books. Either of you guys still?
I have never played Dragonlance, but I did play a fair bit of 2nd edition AD&D, for which I believe it was 2nd edition that Dragonlance was written, it's kind of part of. It's kind of another high fantasy setting with some really great, like Krynnish Minotaurs, like a wonderful example of the setting. But then again, Dragonlance also has some things that are possibly best left forgotten. For example, Kender and Gully Dwarves. Now, Kender are basically Dragonlance's attempt to make halflings less kind of based on thievery, because 2nd ed AD&D, and indeed 1st edition AD&D, had racial and class restrictions, so halflings were best suited for being thieves, for example, and half-elves were best suited for being fighters and bards. But Kender are kind of halflings with kleptomania, but in lore they're so cute and so innocent, and they could pretty much get away with almost anything with a, "Oh, I didn't mean to." And Gully Dwarfs are an example of just, what if we wrote dwarves, but just as really, really bad kind of dregs of society?
And if you have any opinions on the Dragonlance novels, please send them to jamie@giantbrain.co.uk.
Listen, I speak with very light interaction with the Dragonlance franchise, and it is through other works that it has bled into.
Anyway, Jamie, you've got your awards Homburg on, I see, so it's time to tell us what's been going on in the world of yet more awards.
Oh, yes. I told you I've stuck up a wee plinth next to my laptop here for it. Yes, snugly on my head, I can announce the International Gamers Award, Game of the Year 2020. I lost track of how many times I said game. I did only say it twice, I think, but
It's just the nominees as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the nominees. Now, this award was founded in 1999 for the purpose of recognising outstanding games designers and the companies that publish them. The nominees are Azul Summer Pavilion, Barrage, Imperial Struggle, The Crew Quest for Planet 9, and Maracaibo. The one that causes slight question
Concern?
is Maracaibo. Yeah, I'd say maybe concern, mainly just due to the theme of Mediterranean colonialism. Again, yes.
I am genuinely interested in Barrage, actually. I think it looks like a really cool system, and the idea of just screwing with other players by controlling the water upstream sounds genuinely great.
Barrage is one of those games I want to play, but I would never be able to get to my table because, let's face it, generating electricity by water is a hard sell as a theme.
Fair. But being water barons and stealing other people's money, I think that's a better theme.
I mean, we did play
That's
brass together, so we are all about that industrial stealing from each other. Anyway, yeah, the awards are chosen by a committee, funnily enough, which draws its members from around the world. As noted by There Will Be Games journalist and boss of the site, Shelley Uber Rose, 20 out of the 21 members of the committee are white men. Now, kind of slightly galling for me, and I think, if I can speak for you gentlemen, for the rest of the Brainwaves team.
Yep.
Because you've got to be invited onto the committee, and last time I checked, this is talking about games from around the world. The committee is from around the world. 20 out of 21 people around the world are not white men.
No. There's one woman. One white woman on that. There's no one of colour. Good job.
We award your committee 0 prizes.
Yeah. The awards will be announced by the time the podcast goes out, so we'll see who's actually won. But yeah, it'd be nice to see this award be awarded by a more diverse panel of experts.
Yeah, just a panel that more accurately represents people at large.
Yes.
Anyway, Ian, the world of chess has got even more cheaty.
Indeed. If you listened to the last episode of Brainwaves, you will have heard us chat about a grandmaster insulting another grandmaster and an entire team being barred. Well, this week we are talking about yet another scandal. This time, news is coming from The Guardian, which has highlighted a veritable plague of cheating going on in online chess. The sport's governing body, FIDE, employs models to detect suspicious patterns of play. Its general director, Emil Sutovsky, described it as a huge topic I work on dozens of hours each week. And its president, Arkady Dvorkovich, said computer doping was a real plague. Programs that can rapidly calculate near-perfect moves lie at the heart of the problem. This has led to participants in matches being required to be filmed from multiple angles while playing, having a proctor search the room and sit with them throughout the match, and in some cases requiring players to not leave their screen while participating. Chess.com, the world's largest site for online play, has seen 12 million new users this year, compared to 6.5 million last year. Last year they were banning around 5,000 to 6,000 players a month for cheating, and now it's hit a high of 17,000 players banned in August. The growth in cheating has led to a sense of paranoia and suspicion around online chess play. Lower level chess matches have not been immune to cheating. Sarah Longson, former British ladies champion who runs a UK schools chess challenge, said at least 100 of 2,000 online participants cheated, including that some were playing at the level of world champion Magnus Carlsen, but not many have admitted it. So, gents, have we ever cheated in a board game?
Probably, but it depends what you mean by cheating. Like, I've definitely allowed people to take back turns and that kind of thing as learning a game.
I think learning a game is different because if it's people who don't know the rules, you're allowed to mulligan a couple of things and go, listen, if you don't understand, that's absolutely fine. If it tells you in the middle of a game that you know, with people that you know, have you bent the rules in your favor and tried to be sly about it? And I'll happily admit and go, yeah, I've done it a couple of times.
Don't think I have, but probably. Not that I remember, but very likely.
I have done it as the invigilator in co-op games, occasionally. When things have been going badly and we miss a rule, instead of catching that rule, occasionally I've just been like, oh, you know what? The game's going badly, I'll just let that slide.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
I'll admit that if you want to play games with me now, I don't cheat now. I've had my time with it. I'm like, yeah, this is fun enough. I didn't enjoy it, and
I don't know Ian. I think we'll have to keep an eye on him next time with upper games.
Goodness, listen, I have enough. I get enough anger from playing Among Us online and people cheating on that. That's my blood boiling topic right now. But this is a board game podcast, not a video game podcast.
How do you even cheat in that game? Actually,
there's a couple of hacks people have done, which is you can hack the lights in the game. So they've got programs where they hack the lights are always off. There's ones where players' doors are always locked, no matter what you do. There's one where normally you have a kill cooldown, but they've frozen that, so basically it allows you to kill with impunity.
Wow.
That seems astoundingly pointless.
You know what? It is astoundingly pointless. About as pointless as people just quitting out of a game like 3 seconds in because they're not the imposter.
Ooh.
Wow.
It just disappoints me.
And enough about Among Us. Let's get amongst the rest of the news.
Oh, this guy.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Jamie, staying with chess. It's rappers and chess.
I can't believe that we have got so much chess news over the past 2 weeks. This is madness. Yeah, so October the 10th was National Chess Day in the United States, funnily enough, announced by Gerald Ford in 1976. And this year, Chess.com and Hennessy, the makers of cognac, organised the Make Your Move charity livestream on Twitch to benefit the charities 100 Black Men, the Hispanic Federation, and the Asian American Business Development Center as part of the Hennessy Unfinished Business Initiative, which supports Black, Latinx, and Asian American small businesses with grants. It's a very, very worthy cause. Now, the Make Your Move charity livestream had RZA and Jizza, who are cousins and founding members of the legendary hip-hop band the Wu-Tang Clan, playing chess against streamers Nate Hill and I Am Brandon. Now, I realise, and we all realise, that we are 3 white middle-class guys. And I have drawn the short straw to talk about hip-hop. Strap in, this is going to be interesting. Now, the overall winners of these games would go up against Maurice Ashley, who is the world's first black grandmaster and member of the US Chess Hall of Fame, in a finals match. Now, we're not going to tell you what happened. If you want to go and and watch the games, you're more than welcome to. If you go to Make Your Move or Google Make Your Move, you can find the live stream. Interesting enough, when it came to the final match, whoever was facing against Maurice Ashley had 10 minutes to make their move, and Maurice Ashley had 1 minute to make his move. So it's a, it's a little bit attempting to balance the scales somewhat. If you're wondering why Rizza and Jizza were there, they weren't just there for the kicks. They're actually both huge fans of chess. Now, The Mystery of Chess Boxing is a song on the Wu-Tang Clan's debut album. Jizza released a chess-themed album called Grandmasters in 2005. Rizza is also the director of development for the Hip Hop Chess Federation and has won its championships multiple times. So before you start sneering going, these hip-hop fans playing chess, yes, and they're very good at it. Much better than I could ever be.
That's fantastic.
It's brilliant, and I hope I didn't embarrass myself too much.
That might be the best thing we've reported on in a while. That's brilliant.
I'd like to make a quick correction at the end of this article. That is, I should have said Latinx. My apologies. Moving on from rappers and chess to rappers with Pokemon cards. Ian C., I believe you have a little story about this.
Yes, Sir Robert Bryson Hall II, better known as the Rapper Logic, bought a Pokemon card for $220,000. The card is Gem Mint 10, First Edition Charizard number 4, which means it's a perfect quality Pokemon card. Logic says he was a Pokemon fan as a child, but could never afford the cards, so this is him living the dream now. This is news after last month's sale of a sealed first edition box of Pokemon cards sold for $198,000 at auction, while a similar set sold for just $78,000 in 2019. So Pokemon cards are on the rise, basically.
Yeah, I guess if you want a long-term investment,
Pokemon cards,
buy yourself a box of Pokemon cards.
Yeah, it's never gone away. It's 21 years old about that in the UK. And it's still, I think is it the biggest multimedia franchise that there is right now?
By revenue?
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
In history.
I'm also going to make a thing, it's like, it's the first edition Charizard. Yeah, the Charizard card was really good. I'm going to say this right now. I don't like Charizard as a Pokemon. Find it boring.
Yeah, it's a bit rubbish.
Yeah, that's right.
No Venusaur.
Send all complaints to Jamie at giantbrain.co.uk.
Trust me, mate. My Gen 1 starter was always Bulbasaur, because Venusaur was great and Ivysaur was great. I've moved on to Water Pokemon, Squirtle, Water Turtle, Blastoise. Blastoise, he had cannons on his back. Come on, that's cool.
Squirtle has sunglasses as well. Clearly
exactly.
The optimal Pokemon.
Plus, they all fall foul beneath the greatest Pokemon of them all, Farfetch'd. It's literally a duck with a leak.
This is why people listen to this podcast, for the news.
Oh, yes. I learned to play the Pokemon card game, and I actually really enjoy it.
And with that bombshell, over to Ian M. with news about Geek Retreat.
Yes, Geek Retreat, purveyor of all things nerdy from comic books to Dungeons and Dragons, have been expanding over the last few years. Originally starting out with a single store in Glasgow in around 2012, the company now has 14 UK sites. Geek Retreat operates on a franchise model, so you sort of sign up to them and you run your own version of a Geek Retreat store with assistance from a central office. They have now got plans to open 100 new stores in a COVID-safe way. They're aiming to open about 5 stores a month from the start of 2021, and those plans being a little bit subject to change depending on local restrictions, obviously. They're currently looking at sites in Bournemouth, Northampton, Liverpool, Southampton, Dumfries, Cardiff, and Sutton in London, and they're planning to create around about 600 jobs. The games and hobby sector at the moment in the UK is valued at around about 8 billion in the UK, and is predicted to expand by 3% in 2020. There's been a lot of news out of sort of board game shops and that kind of thing that basically the pandemic has seen an uptick in sales of board games because people are home and looking for things to do. But can they really open this number of stores if people can't gather? Like stores like this, hobby stores, we really rely on a community to be there. And if you can't gather, if you can't run D&D, if you can't run Magic the Gathering, how are these stores going to survive? What do you think, gents?
Yeah, so I've had a bit more of a look into this story, and all I've found is this same press relief across maybe 10 different sites. like all big genuine news sites like the BBC and Daily Express and that kind of thing.
So you said big news sites and include the word the Daily Express.
Sorry, it was the Daily Herald, I think. But yeah, it all says the same thing. They are planning to open 100 sites. They're looking at these
I
five
think
cities.
This is entirely subject to change, understandably considering the global coronavirus pandemic.
I mean, this is the sort of statement companies put out all the time, like especially if they have any kind of investors or intentions of that ilk, then this is the sort of thing companies say all the time, like, we're planning to do this, these are our plans for the future, that kind of thing. But, I mean, maybe I believe they've got some sites on some sites here and there, but I don't know whether that's how much of that's confirmed or not at the moment. I think the Bournemouth one's pretty close to being confirmed.
I mean, I think there's a solid, to put things in a very cynical light, there are a lot of board game places and a lot of small cafes that have closed down this year. So if COVID ends and people are able to go to more cafes, or if cafes suddenly start getting more support from the government rather than the absolutely nothing that they're getting at the moment, then there are a lot that could spring up, and a company like Geek Retreat could absolutely just take over that market, especially with the franchise market.
I mean, I'm about to say something very obvious, which is I haven't been to Geek Retreat in a while, which is, pandemic. But even beyond that, I haven't been in a wee while. I used to go very regularly when it opened up in Glasgow in, I think, about 2012. Yeah, I just started drifting away as kind of there were kind of other things started getting slightly busier. Went to uni. Yeah,
well, Sam and I went to the Edinburgh one at the start of the year before everything happened.
Before everything happened.
But that is now shut down. So that's just an example of like a franchise Geek Retreat that has opened and shut down because of the pandemic. And yeah, like we all hope that like by sort of like mid-2021 there'll be a vaccine or something for COVID. There'll be better treatments or something like that. But that is very speculative right now.
Yeah.
And who knows what impact that's going to have on board gaming and the convention scene. And we'll bring you more on this as it comes. If we hear about sites opening in your area, we'll let you know. As to our own COVID restrictions right now, Scotland's just gone into a bunch of new sort of tiers, and what tier our different areas will be in will be announced in about a week's time or not. So we might be almost fully locked down again, or somewhere in between all those things. Who knows? Anyway, Jamie, talking about conventions, the last UK convention standing has cancelled.
Yeah, the last domino has fallen, which is a statement from Dragonmeet. Now, most had already presumed that Dragonmeet would be cancelled in its physical form, and we, the statement says, are here to confirm that now. The reason why we waited as long as we did is because we wanted to be sure of what we were offering in its place. Now, Dragonmeet are going to be offering a smaller online convention, opting for seminars, some live games and demonstrations. Now, they've stated they can't go as far as other conventions, like, I don't know, let's pick one randomly out of the air, Essen Spiel, for budgetary reasons. Basically, they're keeping the powder dry for next year when hopefully the physical convention can go ahead. Now, Dragonmeet will be taking place online from the 5th of December and is running over the weekend, I believe, Ian?
I think so, yeah. I believe so.
If you are interested in running a game at Dragonmeet, we will provide a link in the show notes, so have a little look there. I know, Ian, you've been down to Dragonmeet a fair bit.
Yep. Well, great little convention. Used to be a sort of very role-playing game-specific convention. Now has expanded massively in the last few years to cover a wide range of gaming, board games, role-playing games. It's still very got an RPG focus, I think. You'll find a lot of like really cool RPG publishers down there, like Roanoke and Deckard, people like that. So that's always good to check out. But loads of board game publishers down there as well, like Inside the Box, who's London-based, and various others. So yeah, well, we're checking out for loads of people. Games on all day once it comes back around. Yeah, great con, really good.
Ian, I believe there is some news about some hirings, some sad leavings in the upper echelons of board game companies.
Yes, indeed. It's always good to keep an eye on the comings and goings at the top of companies because those people steer what we see in the board game world. So Haba USA is going to be getting a new CEO. Haba, if you don't know them, they're a purveyor of many fine games, including Reine Hero and the Kinderspiel des Jahres from this year winner Hedgehog Roll. They've appointed a new CEO to the North America division. That is Willy Wilkov. He'll be taking on the role and charged with building connections with the other divisions of the company that include apparel, furniture, and educational products. I didn't realize Haba did that kind of thing, but there you go. Wilkov has an ecom and marketing background, most recently serving as VP of Digital Commerce at Tommy International. That's a very large toy company, if you're not familiar with them.
Tommy? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pop-up pirates, a barrel of fun. I straight up
Thanks very much to Tommy for sponsoring this particular podcast.
I straight up love Pop-Up Pirate. I think it's great.
Also Hennessy?
Who doesn't?
Also Tommy and Hennessy. That's a combination I never thought we'd have together.
Pop-up cognac. So he also has some gaming experience from spending 3 years with PlayFusion, who were the publishers of the Lightseekers trading card game, if anyone remembers that, as Chief Marketing Officer and General Manager. We also have some news from Hasbro. The Hasbro President is retiring. President and Chief Operating Officer of Hasbro, John Frascotti. He's going to be retiring on March 31st, 2021. He'll continue to work for the company as a special advisor to CEO Brian Goldner for a year after. Goldner said of Frascotti, he has played a pivotal role in our evolution from a traditional toy and game company to a global play and entertainment leader. We wish both these people best of luck in their future endeavours. But some more changes at Hasbro. Do you reckon that's good or bad for Hasbro? They've been shedding some companies recently after all their acquisitions over the last couple of years. Some changes at the top. Is that sort of speaking to them moving somewhere else in the future?
I think any new advisor is going to be in the new position of Hasbro, of the position of Hasbro of the last few years, which is large global company that is a conglomerate.
Yeah, rather than being a small toy and game focus, it's much more, like they say, sort of entertainment focused.
Exactly. Yeah.
Worldwide, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the CEO staying on to advise for another year is a clear kind of classic. Don't panic, stockholders. This is all going to be very sensible.
A smooth transition of power, as it were.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Yeah. We would like to say a special thanks to our executive producers on Patreon, the Lucky Sparrow Gaming Cafe, who hold a special place in our hearts, and Shaun Newan from the Game-A-Lot team. If you'd like to support us, then please check out the Patreon or the Support Us page on the site for a variety of ways, including please check out Metallic Dice Games link on that site, which we get a small cut of, which helps us do things like buy a microphone or potentially buy me a webcam so Ian and Jamie can see my terrible face as I chat away.
Yeah, maybe that's a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe not the best. Don't buy advice. Don't buy any. We go live to Jamie, who's wearing some strange shoes.
How dare you? These are, well, I'm wearing some potential shoes. Oh, that's right. There's been an announcement from an American footwear company called Plainview Shoes. And you're going, so this is a board game podcast. What have shoes got to do with it? Well, hold your horse meeples, and I'll tell you.
Sheep.
Hold your sheep, indeed. Indeed. That's kind of giving it away, indeed. Plainview Shoes.
Family show.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with sheep. Plainview Shoes has announced that they will be releasing a series of footwear inspired by the seminal, I think it's enough to say iconic now, Catan, or Settlers of Catan, if you're listening in 2015 or before. Hi, everybody. You've no idea what awaits you. Get out now! Sorry. Now, designs for the shoes will incorporate elements of Catan's unique design language and in-jokes around trading, building, and settling, according to David Harris, who is Plainview's creative director. Alexander Team, licensing manager at Asmodee Entertainment, has said, "We know how important Catan is for its fans. Trading, building, and settling is an integral part of many of their social lives, be it through regular gaming nights or through Catan tournaments. The game is a regular social anchor for many, and with its elegant, nature-focused design elements, it has already become a lifestyle brand." Now, apparently Hot Topic in America has some Catan-themed apparel. Didn't realise Catan was a lifestyle brand. Anyway, the shoes will be coming out...
Catan life.
Living that Catan life. You didn't choose it chose you. The shoes will be out in 2021, although, what the designs are, what the range is going to be like, that remains to be seen. Nothing's been officially announced yet beyond it is being made. Oh, also, and we may have said this already, but Catan is 25 this year.
Catan has massive appeal, and it was one of the first games I picked up in the hobby. I talked about it in the influences piece I wrote recently. But I think that's quite different to being a lifestyle brand.
Mate, you're not living a Catan life, you know. You got to get out there.
Apparently not.
You got to get out there, get that
I've
stone,
got to get out
sheep.
there and got to trade them things for sheep.
Got to build those roads. Man, come on.
Did the app come out? You know, the app that was like Pokemon Go, but Catan. We reported on it a few casts ago.
I am going to Google
Is that out yet?
I think Niantic is still working on, I think it's called Catan World Explorers. It's strange how that comes straight to my head.
Yeah, that's
I definitely take umbrage with trading, building, and settling is an integral part of many of their social lives. What?
Ian, you have no idea what most people's social lives are like.
I mean, that's a fair comment.
What's the next lifestyle brand? I mean, are we going to be looking at, Dixit or Ticket to Ride?
Gloomhaven.
For the record, Catan World Explorers by Niantic Inc. is available on the Google Play App Store. It has a rating of 2.7 out of 5.
Solid.
Wow.
While we get confused about like Catan being a lifestyle brand, we'd like to very much thank you very much for listening to this rambling nonsense that is our show. If you like what you've listened to, then the best way to help us out is to share the podcast and drop us a review and rate on iTunes. That really helps us out, and we really appreciate everyone who takes the time to review the show. Really, really appreciate it. You can follow us as usual on all normal social media places, so Twitter at The Giant Brain, Instagram Giant Brain UK, Facebook we're The Giant Brain. Main website is giantbrain.co.uk, where you can find a variety of ways to support the show if you'd like to. And you can email us about any stories you'd like us to cover, or any thoughts on stories we have covered at giantbrainuk@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, sorry, bye.